Before he died, Nathaniel emailed us from his work. "Hey, I haven't seen you guys in a while, but I feel like now's the time. No, I haven't proposed to the one of my dreams yet. It's not that. It's my work, and it's been tailing me for the past year. I won't disclose what I'm working on, but it's something big. Probably will change the whole world. This is going to sound very cliche, but I want to say thank you. Take care, Mum and Dad, and good luck. Stinker." A few days later, we received word from Nate's company that a lab fire had broken out and Nate and several others had died in it. When they delivered up his body, he was burnt beyond recognition. After his funeral, officials from the company made us sign NDAs and offered us $1 million to compensate our loss. Mum and Dad agreed, but they haven't been the same. As for me, I wouldn't get my revenge until a decade later, when an anonymous email came to my inbox. The midnight breeze chilled me as I laid down my duffel bag and took out the giant wire cutter. I spray painted the gate in a giant oval, and I carefully cut out the outline. A few minutes later, I got inside and quickly ran towards the back of the facility building. Or it was a facility building before they decommissioned the place after the fire. Once there, I scanned my surroundings. Security cameras on the walls were broken, rusted after years of neglect. The wall paint was peeling off, and I could smell something rotten. A dead animal was hidden somewhere. I took out my crowbar and headed towards the big black doors covered in yellow tape, peeling them off and placing the tool between the doors. I pulled at it with all my might and they banged wide open as I fell to the ground. Then, a clicking sound was heard somewhere and I froze. I didn't know what it was, but I've got no time for it. I got up with the crowbar and bag in hand, went through the doors and shut them behind me. I made it to the lobby and, as I stood, I counted down my breaths. I'd only been there while I visited Nate in his first year of work, and it was my last visit. He had to convince the people to let me in for just one day, and I got to tour around his workplace and some part of the facility. He talked about his and his secret love of Vanessa's project, which will make the world better. When I asked further, they told me it was classified, and we moved on about my hobby in baseball, that Vanessa took interest. But I had enough of reminiscing. I went back to my task. I remember where the stairs were. I opened it and stepped through, but my foot cracked onto something. Under it was a smartphone, and I picked it up. The screen was cracked, but the old gadget was still alive with a battery life 30%. I felt confused, then worried, and I began slowly walking steps up to the 10th floor. Carefully observing the hallway's dirty interior, I made my way down and found the door with Vanessa's name on it. The door was already open, ajar, and I peered through it. Everything was left there, as I remembered, and my baseball, a parting gift, was still sitting on her desk. The bottom drawer was locked, but I took out the key, given to by an anonymous person, from my bag and unlocked it. I sifted through the files before I found the letter N and picked it up. Its author was Vanessa. I took pictures of the content with my own phone, and it detailed that the fire was a cover-up, and the burnt bodies were fake, revealing my brother, along with the others, got bitten by a subject called B09, and I read to find out more, but I found nothing about the subject, only details about the cover-up and the damage expenses. A footnote at the end of the page made me jump. For the official record, the subject and I had a secret romantic relationship for 2 years before his death. As one of the heads of Project B, I understand my significant role and will receive penalty from the heads for this action. I will also remain silent to the outside of this incident, even to his family. I had to reread it twice and stash the file in my bag. I uploaded all the photos to my source and returned to the hallway. Then, a click came to my ears. I froze again. Something was definitely here, but my heart began pounding and I counted down my breaths again. I held up my flashlight and shined down the hallway in front of me, but the click came from behind, and I immediately turned around. Nothing there. I continued walking when I stopped and heard sounds of munching. It was coming from a room, and idiotically, I glanced inside. My heart sank. Crouching there was a monstrosity, with large limbs, long hair and scaly skin. It was munching on a person. A man. My instincts told me this was the smartphone's owner. It didn't see me as it was busy eating, but I still locked my gaze on it. An epiphany emerged, and I held out my phone and recorded the abominable thing. 10 seconds of it will suffice for evidence, big enough for the federal court and human rights to step in. Unbeknownst to me, when I pulled the phone out my bag, the folder was slipping on the edge, and it finally fell to the floor. The noise caught the monster's attention. It gazed upon me and began clicking. I picked up the folder and bolted right out of there. I jumped down the stairs, busted through the door, found other monsters just like it sitting on the floor, chewing on some birds and making the same noises. I continued running and went out the back door. As I furiously ran across the facility, my phone flew out of my bag. I turned around to grab it, and for a few seconds, I saw the monsters standing from the building in the distance, watching me, as if they didn't dare leave their home. I turned back to my path. Coming back to the hole, I still ran. I must have ran for at least 30 minutes when I finally came back to my car, parked on the side of the road. I turned my head around one last time, and I got inside the vehicle. I drove for 5 hours before I turned back to the house. As I looked closer to the video recording, at the last frame, something odd appeared. Its face was grotesque, but I could have sworn its eyes resembled someone familiar. But I didn't pry closer, and I put my phone away. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. My channel's been getting mad support recently, and I've been gaining 5-6 subscribers a day, which for me is massive considering I came back after a long hiatus. But thanks so much, guys. I'm Gilla Boy Jr. Thanks for listening. Bye bye now.